Today I'm going to show you another view of the Grand Canyon.
And we're going to tell you about some more friends in the Philippines.
Hi everyone, welcome to Around the World with Joshua and Alyssa. Thank you for joining us again today, and I am going to show you another place in Arizona. This time, instead of going back to Sedona, I'm going to show you a place at the Grand Canyon, and sadly it's a place that Alyssa hasn't been to yet.
Nope.
Actually, you've been pretty close. We just kind of drove right by it rather than turning off onto this place.
Yeah.
But that being said, this is Desert View, Arizona.
Ooh.
It is on the South Rim, and this is the Desert View Watchtower. And in the past, people could go up in there and look out over the canyon
Ooh.
from that. It has been closed since COVID, and they haven't reopened it.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah, and I don't know why they don't do it now because everything else is open, but it's still closed.
Is it stairs inside of it? Or a ladder? Or?
I think it's stairs. But I haven't been there myself, so I don't know. But I can't imagine people climb a ladder that high up. So yeah, it's a great view. Like, I'll show you some pictures later, but you can just see really a really wide view of the canyon. You can see the river from here too, which is really cool. This tower was built by, or it was designed by a lady who designed a lot of the buildings over in the main part of the Grand Canyon National Park. So where we have been before, there's like a lodge and a restaurant and gift store and all these other things over there where we have been. And they were all designed by the same lady. And her goal was to make things look as if they belonged in there, not so artificial as like just kind of popping out of the natural landscape. And so this tower that was built, as this sign describes, was supposed to look old. And it was supposed to look like it was like freestanding, built out of rocks. But it actually has a steel structure inside, and then the rocks were built around it to give it strength. But it was built in such a way that it doesn't look as young as it is. This is on the side of the tower, so on the opposite side of the tower that I already showed you. This is like a gift store that you can go in. You just can't climb anywhere from here. The inside looks really cool. There's all these like pine logs all over, and look how long they are too.
Wow.
On the ceiling and then all the way around. It's some really neat architecture. And I think that ladder just goes to like an attic or something, but it doesn't actually go up into the tower part where, well, they don't let people go. Also on location, this is another gift store about, I don't know, 300 yards away. And they also have coffee and ice cream, so if you need to spend some money, you can do that while you're there. But some of that pottery was really cool. I wouldn't mind having some of it in my house someday, if I had space. I don't right now. But this area here is also kind of sad because they have a memorial here for a airplane accident that happened back in 1956. And there was a TWA airplane and a United airplane, and they literally crashed in midair close to this site.
Oh my.
There was some miscommunication with their like air traffic control and the levels that they were supposed to be up in the air, and like one of the airplanes kind of went around a cloud and the other one was there. So there were no survivors, and there is a cemetery not too far away where as many bodies as they could find are buried there. But they have this memorial there, and they talk about how the Federal Aviation Administration was formed as a result of this accident. So the FAA and all it does to make sure airplanes are safe to fly and safe for people to travel in, and all these different regulations they have, was a result of this accident. And it is a needed thing. I'm glad we don't have accidents like that anymore, because that's one of the things they were formed to prevent. But like I said, the view from here is just pretty cool. This is from the ground. This isn't from the tower itself. And here is a panorama view. So you can go right up there to the edge and just see so far and really wide. We weren't able to stay there for the sunset, which I'm sure was pretty cool too, especially with all the clouds on this day. But it's just a really neat view. So if you go to the Grand Canyon on the south rim and you have, I would say, an extra hour and a half to go to this place. It's like 45 minutes away, half an hour, 45 minutes, so about an hour and a half round trip. So maybe you want to give yourselves 2 hours. It is worth the trip to go see. Hopefully by that time they would also have the tower open back up. And I can't tell you what it's like in there because I didn't get to go.
It looks cool though. It
Yeah.
looks like it'd be a fun thing to go up inside.
Yeah.
Okay, I have some more of our story.
Okay.
So we left off last time with Hamid getting his little sister and going on a long journey. So he started walking with her at night because he wanted to be safe, and that way nobody else would find him if he was walking during the night. And he knew probably his mom's husband would come looking for them because he would want to get money from Kinza from being able to sell her to the beggar. But Hamid hated walking in the dark. He hated the darkness altogether. He was really thankful that there was at least some light from the moon to light his path, but he really didn't like traveling in the dark. But he had Kinza strapped on his back, and he walked, and he tried to stay close to the trees, and there were lots of olive trees that he got to walk by. And that way he felt like he was kind of protected. And he stopped at a stream at one point, and he bent down and scooped up some water and gave it to Kinza too, and then just kept walking. And she fell asleep pretty good in his back, in the little pack back there. But his feet were getting really tired, and after a while his feet hurt so much and his head hurt, and he thought he saw a little bit of light like it was daytime. So he found a little place on the ground, and he curled up, and he put Kinza kind of like on the back of his legs, so then she could rest there and he could rest, and he fell fast asleep. But what he didn't realize was how close they were to a big field of corn, and how close that field was to a village. So Hamid was so tired he just kept sleeping, but Kinza woke up and she heard some noises. She heard a noise that she recognized, and she really wanted her mom. She called Ima, Ima, which meant mother. And she started crawling toward the sound that she knew. It sounded like the grinding of corn. And you remember his mom did that earlier in the story. She would do it out in their barn. So Kinza knew the sound. Remember, she can't see, but she heard the sound, and she knew that was a sound she was used to hearing from her mother. So Kinza crawled away, and Hamid kept sleeping during the whole day. He didn't know she was gone. He just knew he was exhausted and so tired. Well, it was getting closer to evening, and finally Hamid woke up and he realized Kinza wasn't there, and he got really nervous. He was looking all over for her, and he realized that there was a village close by, but he decided it was best for him to stay in the shadows. So he kept kind of staying close to the field and peeking into the village, and he finally found Kinza. She was sitting on the doorstep of somebody's house, and she almost looked like a little angel. She had all these little pieces of straw stuck in her hair, and even though Hamid had tried to comb her hair out, he just couldn't because there were just so many little knots in it, and she almost had like a little halo over her head with these pieces of straw. But the whole village seemed to be sitting there trying to figure out where this little girl came from and how she lived in the cornfield, and just showed up, and she was blind. But Hamid knew he couldn't just walk in the middle and pick her up, because then everybody would be talking, and he would never be able to keep going on to the village to find this lady who was going to help them. So once it got dark, he sneaked back into the village, and he found her fast asleep. in somebody else's house, and he scooped her up really quietly, put her back on his back, and then he started walking again. And he decided he needed to be way more careful from now on. So he did that during the day. He would walk at night, and then during the day they would sleep. And he always tried to be really careful when he got ready to go to any main roads or to cross over any main roads. And one time he thought he'd been really careful and looked both ways, and he stepped out onto the road, and as he did, there were 2 soldiers on their horses who were also traveling at night, probably because it wasn't as hot. And when they saw Hamid, they yelled out, "Oh, it's the boy! We've been looking for him!" And they began to chase after him. And Hamid forgot how sore his feet were or how much his back ached. He began to run. And he saw some bushes, and he ran right into the bushes, but he didn't know they were thorn bushes. And they scratched him all up. But it was a good thing, because the soldiers didn't want to go into those thorn bushes with their horses, so they just kind of shrugged their shoulders and didn't follow. Hamid was really thankful that they didn't. Well, he kept following the directions from his mom, and he finally found the village, and he was pretty sure this was the right one. So he kept thinking about her directions of how to get to the right place, and by this time, his clothes were even more worn out, his feet were in really bad shape. Kinza's hair looked awful. It was like a big ball of knots, but he couldn't do anything to fix it. So he kept thinking about his mom's directions, and he hoped that he could still find this lady's house and that hopefully it was still even there. And he began to see some little boys go in and out of a door, and they didn't look super clean or fancy. They kind of looked like little dirty boys just like him. So he followed, and he got to the edge, and he peeked inside the door, and he saw that they were singing songs together. And he looked up on the wall, and he saw a picture just like his mother had described of a kind man and little children sitting around him. He was so excited he had found the place. This was the right place. But he decided to walk past because he had some things he now needed to explain to Kinza before they went back. And you're going to have to come back next time to see what he explained and what happens.
That was exciting.
They made it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, last week we told you about some missionaries in the Philippines, the Tiraderos. Today we're going to show you some more missionaries in the Philippines who we have talked about before, and that is Pastor Ariel and Ina Abadiano. It's always fun to give updates on them because we spent a lot of time with them in the Philippines. We've even spent some time with him over here in the U.S., and he's really involved in ministry and outreach there. Well, all the Filipino missionaries are really, if you think about it. So, let me tell you a few of the things that have been going on there. They are praising the Lord because they have finished the translation of 4 evangelism discipleship materials into the language of Thai. So we have there The Story of Hope, The Way to Joy, and then a couple other resources there that are like leaders' guides and helps. So here's one of them, and there's another one, and so they're really thankful that God has allowed them to get those through, and they have been able to print and dedicate and distribute those to different churches. This is a training that went on just a few weeks ago in Thailand, and they were able to train 21 leaders, and there were 15 different nationalities that joined for this this seminar. But look at them, isn't that just so cool to see this training going on over there and in their language with these books. So that's exciting. Here are some pictures of that training. Pastor Ariel teaching, and then I'm guessing this is the concentric circles activity that we've done before.
Oh, yeah.
So people stand in 2 circles and they go around and review the things that they have learned during the seminar. So it looks like at least a few of them are having a good time there. They have done some online trainings. Of course, he's always doing these, but he's been able to do some more of these, both for Thailand and in the Philippines. And so those have been well attended. Some of these he does at 5 a.m. in the morning, and people are partaking in those. So amazing. They have 5 groups of neighboring teens who are in discipleship with this material and being trained and discipled by the students from the nearby seminary. And so it's always neat to see those who are students passing this on to others, and that's what's happening there. They are still doing teaching and discipleship with mothers in the neighborhood. So you see Mrs. Badiano over there on the far right. They have 2 groups of mothers who come weekly for Bible studies.
And it's all in Tagalog.
Yep. And here we have the children, and of course they love to do their children's ministries, and those are resuming right now. And they have been able to do more, not just online trainings, but also face-to-face, which is a blessing for them because for 2 years, COVID kept them from being able to do that, and all the different challenges along with that. So now they're able to resume their face-to-face meetings and trainings. And so here are just a few of those, them spending time with people one-on-one, 1-on-2, 3, 4, going through these Bible studies. So continue to pray for them as they are translating this material into other languages, other Filipino languages besides just Tagalog. And also pray for them because they need a vehicle to help continue their ministries. And as you can see here, they use their vehicles just to bring resources around to the places where it's needed. So, lots of praises there, and things to pray about for their ministry. And so I'm thankful that they were sharing with us some more of what God is doing, and I'd love to go back and see it again for sure.
Yep. Hopefully you found our hidden item today, and you enjoyed our missionary story. Make sure you come back next time for the next part, and we'll see you then.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.